Abandoned at the altar by her fiancé of 4 years, she walked into a Seoul nightclub still wearing her wedding dress, drowning her heartbreak in soju and bad decisions. Then she met him, Kang Moon-bin, Seoul's most powerful mafia boss. A man so devastatingly beautiful he didn't seem real. So cold he could freeze hell itself. One night. That's all it was supposed to be. One night to forget. One night to feel alive. One night that should have meant nothing. But the universe had other plans. What would you sacrifice for a love that shouldn't exist? For children who carry your soul but not your blood? In present-day Seoul. The rain hammers against bulletproof windows of the Kang Tower penthouse, 40 stories above the glittering city. Inside, Kang Moon-bin stands motionless, a statue carved from ice and expensive fabric. His brioni suit fits like armor. His face, devastating in its perfection, reveals nothing. At 35, he controls half of Seoul's underground empire with the same cold precision he uses to button his cufflinks. His phone buzzes. The message reads, "She's back. And she's not alone." Moon-bin's jaw tightens, the only crack in his impenetrable facade. 3 years. 1,095 days since the night that haunts him. The night a woman with skin like midnight silk and laughter that tasted like freedom shattered something inside him he didn't know could break. He moves to the window, remembering. Club hypnotic pulses with bass and bodies in desperation. Irene Ajayi sits at the bar, still wearing her wedding dress, a gorgeous off-shoulder creation now stained with mascara tears and rain. Her box braids cascade down her back, adorned with gold beads that catch the strobing lights. At 26, she should be on her honeymoon. Instead, she's drowning her 4th shot of soju, her Nigerian accent thick with heartbreak. "For years," she mutters to no one. 4 years of my life, and he texts me at the altar. A text. "I can't do this, Irene. I'm sorry." She laughs bitterly, the sound breaking. "Sorry?" Like he forgot to pick up milk. The bartender refills her glass sympathetically. Irene raises it in a mock toast. To Michael. May his next fiancé have better taste and worse eyesight. That's when you know it's time to stop drinking, a voice says beside her, smooth as aged whiskey, cold as winter steel. When you start toasting the man who wasn't worth keeping. Irene turns and the world tilts. Moon-bin stands there and he is terrifying in his beauty. Sharp jawline, lips that promise cruelty and pleasure in equal measure, eyes so dark they swallow light. He wears all black, turtleneck, slacks, a watch worth more than her nursing degree. 3 men in suits hover nearby, hands inside their jackets. Dangerous men. His men. But Irene, drunk on heartbreak and soju, just laughs. "Oh, you're one of those. The brooding gorgeous guy who thinks he can fix broken women types." She stands, wobbling in her heels eye level with his chest. Newsflash, handsome, I'm not broken. I'm free. Something flickers in Moon-bin's eyes. Surprise? Interest? It vanishes before she can name it. "You're wearing a wedding dress in a nightclub," he observes. "That suggests otherwise." "This?" Irene gestures at her gown. "This is my liberation outfit. This is me saying goodbye to the girl who waited for a man who didn't show up. Hello to the woman who doesn't wait for anyone." She pokes his chest. "And you know what? Tonight I'm going to do something absolutely reckless. Something the old Irene would never do." Moon-bin raises one perfect eyebrow. "And what's that?" Irene grabs his tie, pulls him down to her height and whispers in his ear. "Take me somewhere. Anywhere. Make me forget his name." 4-3 heartbeats. Moon-bin doesn't move. He's a man who controls everything, his empire, his emotions, his destiny. He doesn't do spontaneous. He doesn't do vulnerable women in wedding dresses with eyes full of reckless pain. But something about her fire, her raw honesty, her refusal to pretend she's fine, it cracks something in the ice. "One night," he says quietly. "I don't do more than that." Irene's smile is all heartbreak and bravado. "Perfect. Neither do I. Not anymore." The camera follows them out into Seoul's neon-soaked streets, rain falling like tears from heaven. They don't know that this one night will haunt them both. That sometimes the universe sends you exactly what you need disguised as what you shouldn't want. Moon-bin's penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame Seoul like a kingdom. Irene spins in the middle of the marble floor, arms outstretched, wedding dress twirling. "This is what freedom looks like," she shouts, laughter echoing off cold surfaces. Then quieter, vulnerable. "Why doesn't it feel like I thought it would?" Moon-bin watches her from the shadows, this whirlwind of warmth in his sterile world. Because freedom and loneliness often wear the same face. Irene stops spinning, looks at him, really looks. "You sound like you know." I do. He moves closer, each step deliberate. I've built an empire on being untouchable. On needing no one. He stops inches away. It's very quiet at the top. Then let's make some noise, Irene whispers. What happens next is not gentle. It's fire and ice colliding, desperation and hunger, two lonely people trying to fill the hollowness inside with heat and skin and forgetting. Irene's wedding dress pools on the floor like a ghost. Moon-bin's control shatters like glass. In the dark, between kisses that taste like goodbye, Irene traces the tattoo on his ribs, a dragon eating its own tail. What does it mean? That everything ends, Moon-bin says against her neck. Even this. Good, Irene breathes. I don't want it to mean anything. I just want to feel alive. But they're both lying. Already, something is taking root. Something dangerous. Dawn bleeds through the windows. Irene wakes alone, Moon-bin's side of the bed cold. A note on the pillow, you deserve someone who shows up. Beside it, an envelope. Inside, enough money to make her gasp and a business card. Dr. James Kim, immigration attorney. Irene laughs, but it sounds like crying. Even my one-night stand feels sorry for me. She dresses in her ruined wedding dress, leaves the money, keeps the card. In the elevator, she catches her reflection. Her eyes look different. Older. Wiser. Sadder. Goodbye, mystery man, she whispers. Thanks for helping me forget. But as the elevator descends, Irene Ajayi doesn't know she's carrying the impossible. 3 tiny miracles that will upend everything Moon-bin believes about himself, about fate, about the difference between bloodlines and belonging. Moon-bin watches from his window as a figure in white climbs into a taxi. His chest aches, unfamiliar, unwelcome. He presses his hand against the glass. Goodbye, he says to the empty room. His doctor's words from 5 years ago echo, I'm sorry, Mr. Kang. The damage from the assassination attempt was extensive. You'll never father children. Moon-bin had accepted it. Children meant vulnerability. Family meant weakness. He needed neither. But watching her disappear into Seoul's morning traffic, he wonders for the first time what he's sacrificed for his empire of ice. 3 years. They'll both spend 3 years trying to forget a night that refused to be forgotten. Hanam-dong. Seoul's most exclusive neighborhood. Irene pushes a triple stroller down the tree-lined street, her phone wedged between shoulder and ear. Yes, Mom, we're fine. Yes, I'm eating. No, I haven't told them yet. They're 3 years old, they don't need to know their father doesn't know they exist. She switches to Yoruba, exasperated. Mama Idandu. I can handle this myself. The triplets babble in their stroller, 3 perfect combinations of her and him. Malik, oldest by 4 minutes, has his father's serious eyes. Zara, the middle child, has her mother's mischievous smile. And Kian, the baby, watches everything with unsettling intelligence. They look like Seoul's strangest miracle, Nigerian-Korean toddlers in matching Burberry outfits, because Irene might be a single mother, but she's a single mother with taste and her nursing salary goes far in Seoul. Ice cream. Zara shouts in Korean. Mama, ice cream now. Baby girl, you had ice cream yesterday, Irene laughs, switching to English. What did Mama say about using your powers for good? But I love ice cream more than good, Zara pouts then grins, her mother's daughter through and through. Irene doesn't see the black Mercedes that screeches to a halt. Doesn't see the man in the suit running toward them, gun drawn. Doesn't realize she's crossed into territory controlled by the Jade Dragons, the rival gang trying to overthrow the Kang Empire. What she does see is a man stepping between her children and danger. Moon-bin. Time shatters like glass. He's bigger than she remembers, harder. His body moves with lethal grace as he disarms the attacker in 3 moves. His men swarm from nowhere, dragging the would-be assassin away. Through it all, Moon-bin's face remains a beautiful mask. Then he turns and sees her. The mask cracks. Irene. Her name on his lips sounds like a prayer and a curse. Moon-bin. She can't breathe. 3 years vanished in a heartbeat. They stare at each other across 3 feet of pavement and 3 years of silence. Seoul disappears. The world narrows to just them and the impossible fact of their reunion. Then Malik starts crying. Zara joins in. Kian just watches Moon-bin with those unsettling, familiar eyes. Moon-bin's gaze drops to the stroller. Irene watches his face, watches the math happen in that brilliant, dangerous mind. Watches the color drain from his perfect features. How old? His voice sounds broken. 3. Irene lifts her chin. I don't need anything from you. We're fine. 3, Moon-bin repeats. He crouches eye level with the stroller. 3 pairs of eyes stare back, Two crying, one calculating. They have his cheekbones, her smile, his intensity, her warmth. It's not possible, he whispers. It's medically impossible. Apparently, Irene says, voice shaking, miracles don't care about medical impossibility. Moon-bin's penthouse. Same view, different stakes. Irene paces while the triplets play on an imported Italian rug with toys that probably cost more than her rent. You should have told me, Moon-bin says. He stands at the window back to her, the same position from 3 years ago. Told you? Irene spins, fury igniting. Told the man who left money on the pillow like I was a prostitute? The man who disappeared without even a last name? How exactly was I supposed to find you, mysterious stranger? My name was on the card. The attorney. The immigration attorney you hired to help the poor abandoned foreign woman? Irene's laugh is sharp. That card went in the trash along with my dignity. I didn't want your pity then. I don't want it now. Moon-bin turns and the raw emotion on his face makes her step back. Do you know what you're telling me? That I have children. That the impossible happened. That I'm not the end of my bloodline. His voice cracks. That you carried this miracle alone While you what? Irene challenges. While you built your empire? Ran your criminal organization? Yes, Moon-bin, I know what you do. I'm not stupid. Those men with guns? The way everyone on the street moved out of your way? I've lived in Seoul for 8 years. I know exactly who Kang Moon-bin is. Silence falls like snow. And yet you never tried to find me, Moon-bin says quietly. Even knowing I might want to know my children exist. Your children? Irene steps close, invading his space, poking his chest like she did 3 years ago. But there's no playfulness now. These are my children. I carried them. I birthed them alone in a Seoul hospital at 3 a.m., scared out of my mind. I walked the floors with 3 crying babies. I learned to do everything one-handed because someone was always crying. I gave up sleep, gave up my social life, gave up dating, gave up everything for them. You were a one-night stand. A beautiful mistake. You don't get to claim them now. Moon-bin catches her hand, holds it against his chest. His heart thunders beneath her palm. Then let me earn them. Let me earn you. Irene yanks back like she's been burned. I don't need earning. I don't need saving. I don't need. What do you need, Irene? Moon-bin's control finally shatters. Tell me what you need because I will give you anything. Everything. I have money, power, protection. I need you to have shown up. The words explode from her. I needed you 3 years ago when I took 5 pregnancy tests and they all said positive and I was so scared I threw up. I needed you when my water broke and I had no one to call. I needed you when Malik had colic and screamed for 3 months straight. I needed you when Zara took her first steps and no one was there to see it but me. I needed you for 3 years of moments that you missed, and you can't buy those back with money or power or pretty words about earning me. Tears stream down her face. Moon-bin reaches out, hesitates, then gently wipes them away. You're right, he says softly. I can't buy back time. But I can give you, the future. If you'll let me. Why? Irene whispers. Why do you even want this? You could walk away. You're good at that. Moon-bin's smile is self-deprecating, painful. Because that night 3 years ago you made me feel alive for the first time in my life. Because looking at them, he glances at the triplets, I see the impossible. Because I've spent 3 years in a world that got colder without you in it. And because. He hesitates, vulnerable in a way that terrifies them both. Because I've never wanted anything the way I want this. The way I want you. A family. Things I thought I could never have. Irene stares at him, fire meeting ice, warmth meeting cold. This is insane, she breathes. Yes, Moon-bin agrees. You're a criminal. Yes. This will never work. Probably not. Then why? Moon-bin steps close, so close she can feel his heat. Because sometimes the heart wants what it wants, consequences be damned. Because I've lived my whole life making logical decisions, and logic got me an empty penthouse and a fortune I can't spend. Because you walked into my club in a wedding dress 3 years ago and reminded me what it felt like to be human. His hand cups her face. So let me be human with you. Let me try. For a moment, the universe holds its breath. Then Kian toddles over, grabs Moon-bin's leg and says his first English sentence, Daddy cry? Moon-bin drops to his knees, staring at this child, his child. His eyes shine with unshed tears. Yes, he whispers. Daddy's crying. Irene covers her mouth, her own tears falling fresh. How can she deny her children this? How can she deny herself? But dark romance is built on impossible choices. Moon-bin's office. Darker, colder. Maps of Seoul cover the walls, marked with territories in red and blue. His second-in-command, Park Jin-woo, looks grim. The Jade Dragons know about the woman, Jin-woo says. They know about the children. Moon-bin's face goes arctic. Security? Tripled. But boss, they're already asking questions. How you could have children when everyone knows you're... Don't? Moon-bin's voice could cut steel. That information stays buried. The doctors who treated you after the assassination attempt are dead or bought. Moon-bin paces like a caged predator. The Jade Dragons can't know the children are mine. If they think there's weakness, a way to hurt me, then maybe you shouldn't have claimed them publicly, Jin-woo says carefully. Maybe the woman and her children should disappear. For their safety. Moon-bin moves so fast Jin-woo doesn't see it coming. One moment they're talking. The next, Jin-woo is slammed against the wall, Moon-bin's forearm across his throat. They are mine. Each word is a bullet. And if anyone touches them, I will burn this entire city to ash. Are we clear? Jin-woo nods, gasping. Moon-bin releases him, straightens his suit. Increase security. By the building she lives in. I want eyes on every entrance, every window. And Jin-woo? He looks back, eyes dead. Find who leaked information about Irene. Make it hurt. Alone, Moon-bin pulls out his phone. Scrolls to a photo he took today without Irene noticing. Her laughing at something Zara said, sunlight in her braids, joy on her face. I won't lose you again, he whispers to the image. Not to enemies. Not to my past. Not to anything. Irene's apartment. Small, cozy, filled with toys and photos and love. Her best friend, Jennifer, stares at her in shock. You slept with Kang Moon-bin? The Kang Moon-bin. Jennifer switches to Yoruba, gesticulating wildly. Irene, that man is dangerous. He's not some romantic hero. He kills people. I know what he is, Irene says quietly, folding laundry, tiny clothes in 3 sizes. I'm not stupid, Jen. Then why are you even considering this? You have a good life. Good job at Seoul National Hospital. Your kids are healthy and happy. Why invite a mafia boss into that? Irene pauses, holding one of Malik's shirts. Because they deserve to know their father. Because every night Zara asks why she doesn't have a daddy like other kids. Because Malik is so serious and I see Moon-bin in him, and I wonder if having his father around would help. Because Kian is too smart, and I'm scared about what that intelligence will do without guidance. She looks up, eyes wet. And because, God help me, Jen, I haven't forgotten that night. I told myself I had. That it was just sex, just escape. But 3 years later I see him and I feel... What? Jennifer asks gently. What do you feel? Everything, Irene whispers. I feel everything. And it terrifies me. Jennifer hugs her, but her eyes are worried. Just be careful. Men like him don't love. They possess. They control. They destroy. After Jennifer leaves, Irene stands at her window watching Seoul's lights. Her phone buzzes. A message from an unknown number. I know you have questions. Come to Namsan Tower tomorrow. 8 p.m. Come alone. I'll have security watching you, but give me one evening to show you who I really am. Please. Irene's thumb hovers over the delete button. But she doesn't press it. Namsan Tower. Seoul spread below like a jeweled blanket. The observation deck is empty. Moon-bin bought out the entire tower for the night. Irene steps off the elevator in a blue dress that hugs every curve, her braids swept up, gold hoops catching light. Moon-bin stands at the railing in charcoal slacks and a white shirt, sleeves rolled to his elbows. He looks almost human. You came, he says, and the relief in his voice is palpable. I'm probably insane, Irene admits. But yes, I came. Moon-bin gestures to a table set for 2, candles flickering despite the wind. I remember you said you loved Nigerian food but couldn't find good jollof in Seoul. So I flew in a chef from Lagos. Irene stares at the spread, jollof rice, suya, puff, egusi soup. The smell alone makes her throat tight. You did this for me? I'd do more, Moon-bin says simply. If you'd let me. They sit. The silence is comfortable at first, then charged. Tell me about them, Moon-bin finally says. Tell me everything I missed. So Irene does. She tells him about the pregnancy, how she was terrified, how her parents in Nigeria were furious, how she almost went home but couldn't leave the life she'd built in Seoul. She tells him about the birth, how Malik came first, screaming his fury at the world. How Zara followed, already smiling. How Kian was last, quiet and watching even then. He looks like you, Irene says softly. Especially his eyes. Sometimes he stares at me and it's like he can see straight through to my soul. It's unnerving in a 3-year-old. Moon-bin's smile is small but real. I was like that as a child. My mother said I was born old. Tell me about her, Irene says. Your mother. The smile dies. Moon-bin looks out at Seoul, his kingdom. She was a maid in my father's house. He raped her. When I was born, his legitimate wife tried to have me killed. I spent my childhood hiding in closets, pretending I didn't exist. When I was 12, my father was murdered by a rival gang. His wife blamed me, said I was cursed. She sold me to the same gang that killed him. His voice is flat, emotionless. I killed them all by the time I was 18. Built my own empire from their ashes. Irene reaches across the table, covers his hand. He flinches, then stills. I'm sorry, she whispers. Don't be. Moon-bin turns his hand, laces their fingers together. That boy died years ago. I'm just the shell he left behind. That's not true, Irene argues. That boy survived. He's still in there, Moon-bin. I saw him 3 years ago when you held me. I see him now when you look at our children. You're not just ice. There's fire underneath. You've just forgotten how to let it burn. Moon-bin stands abruptly, pulls her up. Dance with me. There's no music. He pulls out his phone and suddenly the tower fills with sound, a slow R&B song, sensual and aching. Moon-bin pulls Irene close, one hand on her waist, the other cradling her hand against his chest. They move together and it's like 3 years ago and completely different. Then it was desperation. Now it's something deeper. More terrifying. I don't know how to do this, Moon-bin admits against her hair. I don't know how to be what you need. What they need. I'm good at violence, at strategy, at control. Not at this. Well, family. Softness. Irene pulls back, looks up at him. Then learn. We'll learn together. What if I fail? What if I hurt you? Hurt them? Then you get up and try again, Irene says. That's what love is, Moon-bin. It's not perfection. It's showing up even when you're scared. It's choosing someone every single day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Moon-bin's hand trembles against her waist. I'm so scared, Irene. I've faced death 100 times without blinking. But the thought of losing you, losing them, it paralyzes me. Then don't lose us, Irene whispers. She stands on tiptoe, brings his face down to hers. Choose us. Every day. That's all I'm asking. The kiss is inevitable. Soft at first, questioning. Then deeper, more demanding. 3 years of hunger unleashed. Moon-bin lifts her and she wraps her legs around him, fingers in his hair, gasping against his mouth. They don't make it off the observation deck. Moon-bin presses her against the glass, soul spinning below, and takes her apart with his hands and mouth until she's crying his name into the night sky. Then she returns the favor, making this cold, controlled man shake and groan and finally lose control completely. Afterward, they sit on the floor, backs against the glass, breathing hard. Irene's head on Moon-bin's shoulder. His arm around her waist. The candles have burned low. I want this, Irene says. God help me, I want this. But Moon-bin, your world is dangerous. I need to know my children will be safe. They will be, Moon-bin promises. I'll make sure of it. Can you? Irene looks up. Can you really protect them from everything? From your enemies? From the violence? From who you are? Moon-bin meets her eyes. I can't protect them from who I am. But I can make sure who I am never touches them. I'll keep that darkness away from them, Irene. I swear it. It's the best answer he has. The only honest one. Irene nods slowly. Okay. Then let's try this. But Moon-bin? Her voice hardens. If you hurt them, if you let your world hurt them, I will take them somewhere you'll never find us. Understood. Understood, Moon-bin agrees. Then quieter, thank you. For the chance. For them. For you. The happiness doesn't last. 3 days later, Irene is walking the triplets home from the park when a car pulls up. A woman gets out, beautiful, cold, wearing a white suit like armor. Lee Soo-jin, daughter of the Jade Dragon leader. Irene Ajayi, Soo-jin says, her smile sharp. We need to talk. Irene's hand tightens on the stroller. I don't know you. But I know you. You're the woman trying to trap Kang Moon-bin with fake children. Very clever, using your exotic looks to seduce him. But we both know those babies aren't his. Moon-bin is infertile. Everyone in our world knows it. Fire ignites in Irene's chest. You know nothing about my children. I know they're your meal ticket, Soo-jin says, examining her nails. I know you saw an opportunity and took it. And I know Moon-bin is too honorable to demand a paternity test. But I'm not. She pulls out an envelope. DNA test. Tomorrow. I'll even pay for it. When it proves those children aren't his, you'll leave Seoul. And if you don't. Soo-jin doesn't finish the threat. She doesn't need to. Her smile says enough. Irene snatches the envelope, rage making her voice shake. Fine. Do your test. Prove to yourself that my children are exactly who I say they are. But when you're wrong, you stay away from my family. Forever. Soo-jin's smile falters. Just for a second. Then she gets back in her car and drives away. Irene's hands shake as she pushes the stroller home. She calls Moon-bin. We have a problem, she says when he answers. Moon-bin's private doctor draws blood from the triplets while they eat ice cream and watch cartoons, oblivious to the stakes. Moon-bin stands rigid, face unreadable. Irene holds his hand, feels his tension. 2 days, the doctor says. I'll have results in 2 days. Those 2 days are the longest of Moon-bin's life. He moves through his empire like a ghost, mind elsewhere. At night, he lies awake, staring at his ceiling, imagining futures. If they're his biological miracle, impossible gift, everything changes. If they're not. He doesn't let himself finish that thought. Results day. Moon-bin's office. Irene Moon-bin and his doctor. Soo-jin insisted on being present. She sits across from them, smug. The doctor opens the envelope, reads. His face goes pale. Well? Soo-jin demands. The doctor looks at Moon-bin. Sir, the results show a 99.9% probability of paternity. All 3 children are biologically yours. Silence. Then. Impossible. Soo-jin shouts. He's infertile. Everyone knows. Apparently not, the doctor says quietly. The damage from the assassination attempt was severe, yes. But not complete. The chances of natural conception were astronomically low, but not zero. It seems. He smiles. It seems miracles do happen, Mr. Kang. Moon-bin doesn't move. Doesn't breathe. Irene watches him, terrified of his reaction. Then Moon-bin stands, walks to the window. His shoulders shake. For a horrible moment, Irene thinks he's angry. Then she realizes he's crying. Silent tears stream down Kang Moon-bin's face. This man who never cries, never shows weakness. His back to them, he presses his forehead against the glass. They're mine, he whispers. They're really mine. Irene goes to him, wraps her arms around him from behind. They're ours, she corrects gently. Moon-bin turns, pulls her close, buries his face in her neck. His body shakes with the force of his emotion. 3 decades of ice melting. I thought I was the end, he says brokenly. I thought my bloodline died with me. That I'd never have family, never have. He can't finish. Just holds her tighter. You're not the end, Irene says, tears in her own eyes. You're the beginning. Our beginning. Soo-jin watches this display with disgust and terror. Because she's just realized something. Kang Moon-bin, who was unbreakable, now has a weakness. 3 small weaknesses and 1 woman who's made him human. She slips out quietly. Plans forming. Darkness gathering. The war for Moon-bin's soul has only just begun. It happens at 2 a.m. Irene wakes to glass shattering. She rolls out of bed, instinct screaming danger. Runs to the nursery. The triplets are gone. Empty cribs. Open window. On the wall, painted in red, you should have left when you had the chance. Jade dragons. Irene's scream brings neighbors running. She's on the phone to Moon-bin before conscious thought, her voice breaking. They took them. They took our babies. Moon-bin's voice goes dead calm, the voice of the mafia boss, not the man. I'm coming. Don't move. Don't talk to anyone. I'm coming. He arrives in 15 minutes that feel like 15 years. Irene is on the floor of the nursery, rocking, keening. Moon-bin drops beside her, pulls her into his arms. I'll get them back, he promises. I swear to you, Irene, I will burn this city to the ground, but I will get them back. This is your world, Irene sobs. This darkness. I should have protected them from it. I should have. This is not your fault, Moon-bin says fiercely. This is mine. My enemies. My war. But I will end it. Tonight. He stands, makes a call. Jinwoo. Assemble everyone. Tell the Jade Dragons if they harm 1 hair on those children's heads, I will kill everyone they've ever loved before I kill them. And make sure they believe me. The abandoned warehouse in Gangnam. Classic movie setup, but no less terrifying. The Jade Dragons have the triplets in the center of the space, surrounded by armed men. Malik isn't crying, He's glaring with his father's intensity. Zara is sobbing. Kian watches everything with those unnerving, calculating eyes. Lee Soo-jin stands over them, gun in hand. Her father, the Jade Dragon leader, sits in a chair like a throne. Kang Moon-bin, the old man, calls when Moon-bin enters alone, hands visible. Finally, the Ice King melts for something. Moon-bin's face reveals nothing, but his eyes promise death. You made a mistake. Did I? The old man gestures to the children. I see leverage. I see your weakness. Give me control of Gangnam and you get them back. No, Moon-bin says simply. The room freezes. Soo-jin presses the gun to Malik's head. The boy doesn't flinch, his father's son. No, the old man repeats. I'll kill them. Then you die 3 seconds later and your entire organization dies 3 hours after that. Moon-bin's voice is Arctic death. I've already given the order. If anything happens to me or mine, every Jade Dragon asset gets liquidated. Your money, your territory, your family, all of it burns. You might kill them but you'll die for nothing. You're bluffing. Moon-bin smiles and it's the most terrifying thing in the room. Try me. Mexican standoff. Seconds tick by like hours. Then Kian speaks in Korean. Appa? Father? Moon-bin's eyes snap to his son. Kian is staring at him with perfect understanding. This 3-year-old who sees everything. I'm here, Moon-bin says, voice cracking. Appa's here. And that's when all hell breaks loose. Jinwoo and Moon-bin's men crash through every entrance. Gunfire erupts. Moon-bin moves like liquid death, crossing the space in seconds. He reaches the children as Soo-jin aims at them. And Irene comes from nowhere, tackling Soo-jin to the ground. They grapple. The gun goes off. Silence. Irene stands, blood on her shoulder, Soo-jin unconscious at her feet. She looks at Moon-bin, wild and fierce. Nobody touches my babies. Moon-bin stares at this woman, this incredible, terrifying woman who followed him into hell. You were supposed to stay home. And let you fight alone? Irene scoops up the triplets who are now all crying, clutching at her. Not a chance, Ice King. Hospital. Irene's shoulder is bandaged, through and through, clean wound. The triplets sleep in one bed, piled together like puppies. Moon-bin sits beside Irene, hasn't let go of her hand since the ambulance. I can't do this, he says quietly. I can't put you in danger. Any of you. Too late, Irene says. We're already in it. Then I'll leave. I'll give you money, protection, disappear. You can have a normal life. Moon-bin. Irene cups his face, forces him to look at her. I don't want a normal life. I want this life. With you. I want the man who cried when he found out he was a father. I want the man who bought out an observation tower just to cook me jollof rice. I want the man who stood between my children and a bullet. I want you, all of you. The darkness and the light. You could die. I could die crossing the street. Irene's smile is fierce. But I'd rather die having lived with you than survive just existing without you. So stop trying to noble sacrifice your way out of this relationship. You're stuck with us, Kang Moon-bin. Forever. Moon-bin's laugh sounds like crying. Forever. Forever, Irene confirms. Now kiss me before I pass out from blood loss and painkillers. He does. Soft and reverent and full of promises. From the bed, Malik mutters in his sleep, Appa stay. Moon-bin's eyes shine. Yes, he whispers. Appa stays. 6 months later. The same nightclub where they met, Moon-bin bought it, renovated it. Tonight it's closed for a private party. Irene enters and the space takes her breath away. It's transformed into a garden. Lights like stars, flowers everywhere, photos of them and the children covering the walls. Their story in pictures. Moon-bin stands in the center, wearing a tuxedo, looking nervous. Actually nervous. Behind him, the triplets hold a banner. Mary Ape and Mama. You used our children as props? Irene laughs, tears already falling. They insisted, Moon-bin says. Apparently Zara told her preschool class her parents weren't married, and the other children said that was weird. She's been planning this proposal for weeks. I'm 3, Mama. Zara shouts. I very smart. Irene laughs harder, moves closer. Moon-bin takes her hands. 3 years ago you walked into this club in a wedding dress, he says. And you changed my life. You made me feel human. Then you gave me miracles, 3 impossible children who are the best parts of both of us. You've taken my darkness and found light in it. You've made me want to be better, do better, be better. He drops to one knee. Irene Ajayi, will you marry me? Will you make an honest man out of this criminal? Will you let me spend the rest of my life trying to deserve you? The ring is stunning, custom-made, Nigerian emeralds and Korean pearls. Irene pulls him up, kisses him, whispers against his lips, "Yes. Always yes." The club erupts in cheers. Their friends, her hospital colleagues, his trusted men, all celebrating. The triplets mob them shrieking. Zara insists on wearing the ring first. Malik gives his solemn approval. Kian just watches, smiling. "Do you think we'll make it?" Irene whispers later in Moon-bin's arms, their children asleep nearby. "Really make it?" Moon-bin kisses her forehead. "We're a Nigerian nurse and a Korean mafia boss with triplets who shouldn't exist. We've already defied every odd. What's a few more?" "That's not an answer." "Then yes," Moon-bin says. "Yes, we'll make it. Because I choose you. Every day, every moment. And I'll never stop choosing you. Even when I'm annoying? Especially then." Irene laughs. "What about when I force you to watch Nigerian movies? I'm learning Yoruba. I have no room to complain. When I rearrange your perfectly organized closet? I'll simply reorganize it when you sleep. When I—" Moon-bin silences her with a kiss. Deep, slow, full of promise and heat and forever. "When you do anything," he murmurs, "I'll love you anyway." That's what this is, Irene. Messy, complicated, dangerous love. But it's ours. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. The wedding venue in Jeju Island. A fusion ceremony, Korean traditions meets Nigerian celebration. Irene walks down the aisle in a dress that's half white lace, half African print. Moon-bin waits in a traditional hanbok with Nigerian embroidery. The triplets are flower children, absolute chaos exactly as expected. Zara throws petals with wild abandon. Malik takes his job very seriously. Kian eats more petals than he throws. They say their vows in 3 languages, English, Korean, Yoruba. They promise to choose each other in darkness and light. To build a family on impossible love. To teach their children that home isn't a place, it's the people who see all of you and stay anyway. When Moon-bin kisses his bride, Seoul's most dangerous man looks utterly at peace. The reception is wild, jollof rice and kimchi, Nigerian music and K-pop, 2 cultures becoming one family. Moon-bin dances with Irene, with their children, with her mother who flew in from Nigeria and now calls him son, despite everything. As the sun sets over Jeju's beaches, Moon-bin and Irene steal away. They stand at the water's edge, fingers laced. "No regrets?" Irene asks. Moon-bin pulls her close. "Not a single one. Even though I'm about to make things more complicated?" He pulls back, reads her face. "Irene, are you?" She grins, wild and joyful. "Twins this time. Just got confirmed yesterday. Surprise?" Moon-bin's laugh echoes over the waves. He spins her, kisses her, sets her down gently. "You're going to give me 5 children? Well, you're apparently medically miraculous. I'm just along for the ride." "I love you," Moon-bin says and means it with every frozen, melting piece of his heart. "I love you too, Ice King," Irene whispers back. Behind them, the triplets chase waves and shriek with joy. Seoul's skyline glows in the distance. 2 worlds colliding. 2 hearts healing. One impossible love that refused to be denied. The camera pulls back, up, away, until they're just 2 figures on a beach holding each other against the tide. Because sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones that shouldn't work. The forbidden ones. The dangerous ones. The ones built on one night that became forever. So what would you sacrifice for impossible love? For miracles that defy medical science? For a family that rewrites your destiny? Maybe the real question is, what wouldn't you sacrifice? If this story touched your heart, if you believe in love that defies all odds, if you want more dark romance stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Because sometimes the best love stories are the forbidden ones. And remember, ice melts. Hearts change. Miracles happen. Even when they shouldn't. Especially when they shouldn't.